Hello, my name is Ian Tristan Rivera, and I'm going to be presenting on my informative speech on Esteban Hotes. These are my note cards, and then this is my audience member, my mom.
Hi, I'm Tristan's mom.
Imagine training for years to fight overseas, only to find out your hardest battle is back home. That was the reality for Esteban Hotes, a member of the Tuskegee Airmen. After Union victory in 1862 led to the Emancipation Proclamation, the fight for true equality in America was far from over. Esteban Hotes is one of the leaders who carried that fight forward almost a century later, from inside the United States military itself. Hotes' story can be told in three parts: his background, what he did to make history, and his legacy he left behind. Esteban Hotes was born February 11, 1919 in Mocha, Dominican Republic. According to blackpast.org, an online encyclopedia of African American history, Hotes was only 4 years old when he moved to the United States with his mother and little sister, arriving through Ellis Island and settling in Manhattan. He grew up in New York City during a period when Jim Crow laws still shaped daily life for Black and Afro-Latino Americans, even outside the South. Nuestra Stories, a Latino storytelling publication, reports in the 2024 article titled Wings of Valor that not much is documented about Hotes' early life until he joined the Army Air Corps on February 21, 1942. He was assigned to the 619th Bombardment Squadron and earned the rank of second lieutenant. This was during World War II, and the military was still segregated, even as Black soldiers were being asked to fight and die for their country. By 1944, civil rights leaders were pushing for African Americans to be given more meaningful roles in the war. That pressure placed Hotes in the 477th Bombardment Group, part of the Tuskegee Airmen, the first all-Black military pilots in U.S. history. As reported by Military.com in a 2015 article titled Once Unknown, Story of World War II Latino Tuskegee Airmen Uncovered. Hotes' squadron never actually saw combat overseas. His biggest battle wasn't in the sky, it was still ahead of him. In March of 1945, Hotes' unit was transferred to Freeman Airmen Airfield near Seymour, Indiana. According to CNN, in a February 2023 Black History Month feature titled Unsung Heroes, the base commander, Colonel Robert Selway, created 2 segregated officer clubs in direct violation of Army regulation, requiring all officer clubs to be open regardless of race. Selway got around the rule by labeling white officers as instructors and Black officers, including Hotes, as trainees, barring them from the main club. Hotes and dozens of other Black officers decided they'd had enough. Face to Face Africa, a publication covering African diaspora stories, reports in a 2020 article titled How an Unknown Afro-Dominican Airman Ended Segregation in U.S. Army by Staging a Mutiny, that from April 5th to 7th, 1945, groups of Black officers walked peacefully into the white-only club in protests. In total, 101 officers, including Hotes, were arrested for violation of base regulations. This act of nonviolent resistance became known as the Freeman Field Mutiny. IQ Latino reports in a 2021 article titled Esteban Hotes, the only Dominican member of the Tuskegee Airmen, that the arrested officers awaited trial, but pressure from civil rights organizations and labor unions and members of the Congress forced the War Department to back down. On April 23, 1945, all 101 officers were released under direct orders from Army Chief of Staff, General George C. Marshall. That same source notes that just 2 years earlier, in 1943, Hotes and his wife had applied for U.S. citizenship, meaning he fought this battle for equality as a man still working to fully claim his own place in the country he served. Hotes never got to see the full impact of what he helped start, BlackPast.org reports that on July 8, 1945, just months after the mutiny, Hotez and his five-member crew took off on a routine training exercise. After dropping off their payload, their aircraft went down over the Ohio River, killing everyone on board. Hotez was only 26 years old. Researcher Edward de Jesus of the CONY Dominican Studies Institute quoted in the CNN feature on Hotez explaining that the events at Freeman Field directly influenced President Harry Truman's decision to ban segregation in the United States with an executive order in 1948. That protest also became a model for the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. For decades, Hotez's story remains largely unknown, even to most historians. It wasn't until 2015 when researchers at CUNY uncovered his role as the only Dominican-born member of the Tuskegee Airmen that his contributions finally started to gain the recognition they deserved. Today, his story is used to highlight the roles that the Afro-Latino service members played in civil rights struggles that history books have mostly told through a single lens. Esteban Hotez's story can be told in three parts. He grew up an immigrant in Manhattan, he stood up against segregation at Freeman Field, and his courage left a legacy that helped desegregate the US military. He came to this country as a 4-year-old immigrant and grew up to challenge one of the most powerful institutions in America from the inside. He didn't set out to become a civil rights icon, he just refused to accept being treated as less than equal. Esteban Hotez proves that sometimes the most important battles aren't fought overseas, they're fought for dignity right here at home.